In this module, I'm going to cover the cloud service models. The NIST defined 3 service models of how cloud services can be offered. We've got IaaS, which is infrastructure as a service, PaaS, which is platform as a service, and SaaS, which is software as a service. I'm going to have individual lessons in this module where we're going to cover what each of the 3 different service models are in detail. Now, large cloud service providers are not going to offer just one of these. Typically, they're going to offer multiple models of service. In fact, if I have a look at AWS, so let's do that. Now I've got it open in my browser already. If I click on services up here in the top left, you can see that AWS have got heaps of available services here. They have got all the different types of models. If we looked at Microsoft, it's the same thing there. They've got Microsoft Azure for IaaS and PaaS services, and they've got Microsoft Office 365, which is a software as a service. So you might have smaller cloud providers might specialize in just one, but the big players will offer multiple different services. Okay, let's get back to the slides. The 3 models define where the customer and provider areas of responsibility are and at what level the customer gains access to the service. And the 3 models build on top of one another. So we've got IaaS at the bottom, and then PaaS builds on top of that, and then SaaS would be the next level up from there as well. So to explain this, we need to start off by looking at the data center stack. At the bottom of the stack, we've got the facility, the actual physical location and the power and the cooling. The next level up, we've got the network infrastructure. So our routers, our switches, our firewalls, etc. The next level up is our storage system. By the way, we're talking about physical things at these levels right now. Then we have got compute, which is our servers. Then the hypervisor on top of there, so getting into the software level now. Then on top of the hypervisor, we've got the operating system. Then we've got our applications, and finally our data. So when we're looking at the different models that are available for cloud, it's easiest if we look at a data center stack to explain this. So what I'm going to do in the following slides is we'll talk about what all the different deployment models are, starting off with the traditional models of on-premise and colo, and then moving into the cloud models. And we'll look at the data center stack, and in there we'll see what is the customer area of responsibility, what they manage, and what the provider manages. So starting off with on-premise first. With on-premise, obviously the customer manages everything. There is no cloud provider when we're using on-premise. Moving on to a colo facility. Again, this is a traditional model. This does not count as cloud. With colo, the facility is going to be provided by the provider, and they'll also make sure that network connections are available there as well. The customer will negotiate a network connection from one of the network providers. And then all of the other levels in the stack up there, from storage, compute, hypervisor, operating system, applications, and data, that equipment is going to be owned by and managed by the customer. The next model to look at is our first cloud model, which is infrastructure as a service. You can see this differs from colo. With colo, we've got the provider's facility, but the hardware equipment in the facility is ours from the customer point of view. This is where it's different when we look at the cloud models. With cloud, it's not just the facility which is owned and run by the provider, but also the hardware equipment is owned and maintained by the cloud provider as well. So the facility, the network hardware, the storage hardware, the compute hardware, and the hypervisor software is all owned and maintained by the provider. The operating system also will be installed by the provider, and we will get access from the operating system level. So whoever patches the operating system, it depends on the particular provider. Maybe they do the patching for you, or maybe you have to do the patching. Everything above the operating system is going to be the customer responsibility. So the customer is going to be installing their own applications and managing their own data. And if we look at where the customer actually gets access with IaaS, they will get access at the operating system level. So if it's a Windows server, the customer will be able to remote desktop into the actual desktop, the operating system, and manage everything up from there. Now, in the following lessons, I'm going to actually show you this because it might still be a bit confusing right now. I don't want this lesson to be a huge lesson, so I'm not going to give you a demonstration of all of the different models in this one lesson. It would make it too long. I'm going to break it out into different lessons. So don't worry if IaaS seems a little bit confusing now. I'll be covering that in the next lesson, and I'll give you a demonstration of it, and I'll make it really simple to understand. Okay, the next model we have, and this is the one that actually can be quite confusing, is PaaS, Platform as a Service. With Platform as a Service, the level goes up a bit in the data center stack. So the provider is going to manage from the facility up to the operating system. The customer looks after the applications and data. But really, this doesn't tell the story. I need to move on a slide, because with Platform as a Service, what this is used for is for developing applications. So the customer will come in to a custom environment which is on top of the operating system. So it's not like with IaaS where they can get access at the desktop level. They're going to come into a purpose-built environment which is designed for building applications. And again, it might seem a bit confusing now. In a couple of lessons time, we'll have the PaaS lesson, and I'll show you exactly what it means there. The last model is software as a service. And with software as a service, the provider is going to manage everything from the facility up to the data level. What software as a service is cloud-based software. For example, Microsoft Office 365 or Salesforce, that kind of thing. So the customer is going to come in at the application level, and they're going to use the application. Also, they can have their own data in there, but everything is going to be managed by the provider. Okay, so that was just a quick introduction to the different models. In the next lessons that we've got coming up, I'll explain these in a lot more detail, and I'll also show you how they work. Thanks very much for watching. If you found this video useful, then you can click the link above my head now to get access to my complete introduction to cloud course. That's all for free. And also please subscribe so that you can get my latest tutorials.